flying it pretty close to things and it's not crashing, so that's a pretty good sign. The only thing to watch out for is that, oh snap. Oh.
Welcome back to our channel. Today, Josh and I are super excited to be taking a look at DJI's brand new Mavic Air 2. This drone is a huge game changer in the world of drones, so let's take a closer look. For those just wanting to know a couple of quick facts before we get started, this drone is able to shoot at 4K 60 and also slow motion at 240 frames per second at full HD. Secondly, you are able to shoot up to 48 megapixel images with a larger sensor. And lastly, it does have OcuSync, which means it's going to have a much stronger connection whilst you're flying.
Taking a closer look, you'll notice the remote control is slightly bigger than the previous versions. And this is great because it feels better in your hand, but also you have a switch to switch from normal to tripod mode to sports mode, as well as at the top, they have a revamped phone mount, which just pops out like so. And it has the built-in cable just at the bottom here. It also comes with spare cables if you don't have an iPhone, such as USB-C, as well as a micro USB as well. For portability, the joysticks do come off and just slot into the bottom, as well as the remote charges by a USB cable. Next up, you get a battery bank adapter, which means you can turn your batteries into a portable battery bank to charge your remote or your phone on location. Finally, it comes with an ND filter kit, which is awesome for anyone who owns a drone already. You know that ND filters are super essential for shooting sunsets or landscapes with your drone.
So the Mavic Air 2 does come in the one color, unlike its previous model which came in 3 different colors. In terms of size, it is slightly smaller than the Mavic 2 Pro, but also slightly larger than the Mavic Mini.
As for the drone itself, one thing I didn't like about the older Mavic Air is that it used Wi-Fi to connect to the controller, meaning that you're going to have a harder time connecting with your drone, especially in environments that have a lot of signals. I was in Hong Kong flying the Spark and I lost connection of my drone quite a few times just because of the amount of signal that's going around. So now that the Mavic Air 2 has OcuSync 2.0, this is going to mean you're going to have a stronger connection with your drone. It also transmits video up to full HD, which is great, so you can see your clear image on your phone.
A great thing about this drone is that it does have improved APAS, which means that it's able to detect an obstacle, giving you less chance of crashing your drone. The Mavic Air 2 also does have HDR photos, which means that it stitches together 7 different images with varying exposures, giving you an extremely dynamic photo.
Finally, the drone can fly up to 67 kilometers per hour in sports mode and can last 34 minutes in the air. For those here in Australia, you can check out the CASA website to find out the rules and restrictions on flying a drone. Also, you can download the AirMap app, which they provide, which will show you whereabouts you can fly. Also in the box, you get a pamphlet, which will show you a little bit more rules to follow when flying your drone, and I'm pretty sure this will apply similar in other countries as well.
Now we're going to take the drone outside and see how it performs. Let's go. So we've just made it out to a park so we can test the drone and see how it flies.
All you need to do to set up the drone is download the new DJI app, and you also need to charge the batteries as they don't come charged. Then finally you have to install the new firmware update, which you do need the batteries to be at least 40% charged before you install it. Since it's sunny today, we're going to test out the ND filters, which is good that it comes with the Fly More combo. You get a 16, a 64 and a 256. We're going to pop on the 64 and test it out. One rule when drone flying is that you have to have your drone in line of sight in order to be able to fly. So we're going to test out the hyperlapse feature. All you need to do is set a waypoint and then set another waypoint, and then it will hyperlapse one direction to the other. Let's try it out. So while that's hyperlapsing, we can talk about the physical design of the Mavic Air 2. Now, in terms of design, there's nothing really that crazy. It does have a few more sensors on it, so that way it's gonna not crash into anything. It has a USB-C port on the drone, as well as a micro SD card port. And that's pretty much it. You have your standard drone and propellers, and if you've seen the Mavic Pro, then it looks pretty similar, just a baby version of that. Taking a quick look at our results from the hyperlapse, we shot about 125 photos, which means we get a 5-second video, and it looks ridiculous. Ridiculous in a good way. Now it is getting a little bit darker, so it's the perfect time to test out the low light on the Mavic Air 2. Compared to the standard Mavic Air, the Mavic Air 2 now has a larger sensor at 1/2 inch, so you are going to get a lot better low light capability. However, comparing the Mavic Air 2 to the Mavic Pro 2, the Mavic Pro 2 is going to be better in low light with a 1-inch sensor. So if low light was a big priority for you, you probably want to take a look at the Mavic Pro 2. One thing to keep in mind though is that in Australia it is against the law to fly the drone if you can't see your drone, especially at nighttime or in the fog. So keep that in mind while shooting. Now, one of the biggest things I pick up when I'm actually flying the drone is that the stream is so clear. It now has OcuSync 2.0 and it works really well. It gives you a lot more confidence as a drone pilot that your drone is not going to disconnect from your controller. Also, it's super easy to connect your phone. All you need to do is undo this and stick your phone in there. Whereas other remotes like the older DJI Phantom remotes, you have to actually carry your iPhone cable separately. Now that it's built in, it works pretty well. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is that once you undo it, you have to pull out the cable before you put in your phone. Otherwise, you're blocking the actual cables to put your phone in. Another thing, the remote feels way more comfortable that your phone is up instead of underneath, now that you can actually look less down to actually view what you're seeing. Simple layout, all you have is your landing button on and off, switch from photos to video, function button, photo button at the front, and a dial to control what angle your camera is going to be at. And it works pretty well, it's quite intuitive. I like that everything runs off a USB-C cable, so that way you don't have to have multiple cables, it's pretty much just the one to get everything going. First up, testing out the slow motion at 240 frames per second in full HD, and surprisingly it's really sharp and definitely usable. I know that other camera brands sometimes put in slow motion that is a bit soft and unusable, whereas this is pretty good. If anything, it might be a bit too slow for some shots because it doesn't look like the drone's actually moving, but if that's the look you're going for, then it's going to work great. Finally, the quick shot presets actually really surprised me on not only how great the result was, but also how easy it was to use.
After testing the Mavic Air 2, we found that it did perform sharpest at the center of the frame, with a small amount of drop-off closer to the edge of the images. This is the same with all Mavic drones, but the edge sharpness with the Mavic Air 2 is greatly improved compared to its previous model.
Next up, taking a look at some modes, the first main two is sports mode and tripod mode. Sports mode is great because you can fly at 67 kilometers an hour. Just keep in mind that the sensors do turn off, so it might be more prone to crashing. Next up is tripod mode, and tripod mode is great for fitting in those really tight spaces, as the drone doesn't have to tilt as much. Lastly, I did want to try out if this drone could replace a gimbal, and turns out it can't. This drone is a little bit too light, so you do get a little bit more jitters, but if you do need the quick shot here or there, it may do the job. Especially for shots like this, the tripod mode is really good, and I'm flying it pretty close to things and it's not crashing, so that's a pretty good sign. The only thing to watch out for is that, oh snap. Oh. As I was saying, the one thing you have to watch out for is that the side of the drone and the top of the drone doesn't have any sensors. So if it's on the side or the top, you might run into some issues.
So overall, we do feel as though this is an amazing drone. It does have the 4K 60 video with slow motion, has a larger sensor, a longer fly time, and also the new remote. This all does come at under $2,000 for everything you need with the Fly More combo, which we think is extremely affordable for what you get, making it great for not only beginners, but also professionals.
For more information on the Mavic Air 2, you can check out the link in the description.
If we did miss anything, or if you do have any more comments, please leave them in the comment section below.
And finally, check out our Instagram as we run frequent giveaways over there.
Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you in the next one.
That was good.
Yeah?